So how many hours do you think you have clocked on this game so far?
Um, Public matches probably not as much, but like with scrims and like playing tournaments and stuff online, I don't even know. Gotta be. Game's been out like a month now, I think. A month, almost a month. So I don't know. I honestly probably couldn't put a number up. Maybe like 100 hours more, probably. I keep disconnecting. That's really weird. I don't know why. Um,
2020.
yeah, you'll probably just have to start it fast. Like whenever I do join, I think it's just bugged. I think that happens.
All right, what do you want to play?
Doesn't matter.
Let's do it.
Domination,
Do a
team
quickie.
deathmatch. This my camera's there, so let me make sure the doesn't get the monitor's not picking up in the background.
So, um, at what point did you realize that you were good enough to be pro?
I think just me like playing like I mean I grew up playing video games like with my older brother and just playing for fun, but it wasn't really until like I started playing Call of Duty on a competitive scale like GBs, like wager matches, tournaments, and things like that, and playing against other pro players and other players that were known at the time that were like won a lot of these tournaments and just competing with them and doing better than them, beating them, things like that. So that was when I was like, okay, I'm actually really good at this. I mean, I'm always been a competitive person in general.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, like I played baseball my entire life growing up and stopped in the end of during high school and just that competitive drive in me like I still had and Call of Duty was really like my calling to like to fill that void just on a competitive scale. So that was kind of what it was for me.
Nice. And so when you practice with your team, like how do you guys run it? I mean, do you have specific plays that you have mapped out?
Well, we always play the same maps, same modes, things like that, right?
Uh huh.
But um it's more so about learning like a strategy. Like so we play hardpoint, search and destroy, control. Um, but we only scrim. We don't scrim search and destroy because that's more of a it's not a game mode a lot of teams practice. Sometimes we do,
Uh
but
huh.
it's not as frequent as hardpoint and control. So when it comes to those two modes, hardpoint and control, it's really more so about like learning the rotations, which is something you do very early in the game, but also learning how to play those rotations better, how to like what setups to hold on those rotations, um, the spawns for certain hills and like what you're doing on the map, how that impacts the spawn influence. So you got to like learn the fundamentals and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But also like while you're doing all that, you got to be good at the game mechanically. And when I say that, I mean like being able to shoot straight, being able to have good movement, things like that.
Right.
And all that all comes with playing like a lot over time. But implementing it into your gameplay consistently, especially at the high level, is like super important.
Right.
So so those are really the two things.
I almost had that kill.
Oh,
You robbed me. See, I've been playing squad for the last couple of months.
wait, yeah, the game. I played that game right when it dropped originally.
Uh huh.
Yeah, when it was in like alpha, and I had a really bad PC at the time, so I would get like 50, 40, 50 frames, but I
Uh
would
huh.
still play it because it was super fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's fun. I mean, Call of Duty's fun too. It's
yep,
definitely got there's a different pace to it.
yeah, yeah. Call of Duty is more of like a. It's I wouldn't say like it's like a cartoon FPS, but it's
Uh-huh.
just very fast paced compared to most like shooters.
Yeah.
But it's such a it has such a good flow to it, which is
Mm-hmm.
why I like it. Like the movement is very smooth, things like that.
Right.
Like Battlefield and Squad, those kind of games, they're a bit more realistic, and like
Mm-hmm.
with that, the movement and things like that is a lot more clunkier, which makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. So tomorrow we've got the Call of Duty Endowment Bowl, the tournament. What can you tell me about it?
So the Call of Duty Endowment Bowl, I mean, I've followed the Call of Duty Endowment for a while and just have just seen the kind of good they've done over the years for veterans
Uh huh.
in in the armed services. So seeing that good, and the bowl is a tournament that they host every year. And last year, one of the players that I'm actually coaching
Mm-hmm.
um, won. So for him to have that experience, and these guys are already competitive in general, is super interesting and cool to see. But yeah, it's just an event to bring awareness and to put veterans back to employment and get
Yeah.
them good good jobs. And I think it's an awesome thing. So that they're bringing awareness to it, and they continue to. I mean, it's been going on for years. So,
Mm-hmm.
and to finally be a part of it is super special. Just considering my military background, my dad's been in the military now for 37 years. He's
Uh
been
huh.
deployed twice, so I have a good understanding of the kind of toll it takes on not only the individual but the family, the loved ones, things like that. So I have nothing but respect for all the armed service members.
And he's in the army, right?
Yeah, he is in the army.
Nice. So what was that like
They,
growing up?
um, growing up, it was I mean, he hasn't been deployed in a long time,
Uh
but
huh.
he was deployed when I was super young. So that for me, I didn't really understand it too much. I didn't really grasp it that well. I mean, he obviously just wasn't around.
Mm-hmm.
So for me and my mom and my sisters, it was definitely difficult. I mean, I remember him telling me it was fairly after it was after 9/11. He just kind of told me I'm the man of the house, and because he knew he was gonna get sent over
Mm-hmm.
um after that incident, and it was terrible, man. And I was still so young, but I do remember bits and pieces. But yeah, growing up, it was it was difficult, but I had my family, so that's all that really matters.
Right.
I mean, I've moved several times throughout middle and high school.
Mm-hmm.
So that was probably the hardest, just leaving, like making and like having friends, leaving friends, trying
Right.
to make new ones, things like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, looking back on it, I mean, it's all a learning experience. So you got to take the good away from it. And I'm a kind of person that likes to, I mean, I love experiencing new places,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. So I mean, especially as I've gotten older and as I've been able to travel doing this, so to just take in all those new places and have that experience, I think is super important. So I'm definitely grateful for all of it. So I'm not. It's been an experience for sure.
Yeah. How long you been doing this?
Playing Call of Duty, I've been playing since I've been playing like since Call of Duty One, Big Red One,
Mm-hmm.
Finest Hour, all of them that dropped on like GameCube,
Mm-hmm.
PS2, PS3. But I didn't really start playing competitively until like I mean, I would play GBs and things like that with my friends, tournaments. I didn't start. I haven't been playing. I've been playing professionally for this is my third year. So
3 years. 3 years ain't bad.
yeah,
Yeah. I don't know if I'd be able to do it. I mean, I've been playing video games forever, and I wouldn't say I'm horrible. I'm definitely not pro level. I don't think I have the I don't think I have the reflexes for it, to be honest.
Yeah.
There's probably a lot of that's super important, like brain to hand
Yeah, that and
latency.
then yeah, so like reflexes, things like that are important, but also like not only you gotta, yeah, obviously like I said, mechanically you gotta be able to like figure out how to use the controller, all of
Mm-hmm.
that. But what really separates professional players from the average person that picks up a controller, because anybody can pick up a controller, hop in a game of Call of Duty, and get some kills, you know. But
Mm-hmm.
what really separates professionals from just anybody that like just plays Call of Duty in general, I think, in my honest opinion, is just their understanding of the game, communication, um, how to play certain scenarios. I mean, even in S&D, like that, having that clutch ability, that kind of factor
Mm-hmm.
in your gameplay, and just that kind of trait about you. Those are the things that like I think really separate um, professional from just anybody that really just plays Call of Duty.
Right.
So I got lagged out. Let me join back. If you
Yeah.
are gonna do that after like every game. Super weird.
Where are you at right now geographically?
Right now I'm in Dallas, Texas. Yeah.
I've lived in Texas for a little bit. Most of my family on my mom's side, they're out in Houston.
Okay. Yeah, I just recently moved here. I've been here for a little over a month now, actually. So yeah, I've been enjoying. I'm in my own place, so
Mm-hmm.
to have that is nice. And I mean, one of the reasons I lagged out again.
Oh, did you?
One of
Yeah.
the reasons, yeah, and one of the reasons I actually came out here. I mean, me and my whole team are based out of here now.
Mm-hmm.
Was because of Call of Duty. I mean, it's not also like a central location. The internet's good here. It's super convenient for everything that we need. Um, but also they have servers out here for Call of Duty, things like that. So just to be close to them is really important, especially with this whole COVID thing. When we're playing online in these tournament formats, having a good ping connection to the servers is super important. So, and to be in a centralized location is a must. So you don't want to hinder yourself in any way competitively.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so there's that. There's you probably obviously use a wired controller because wireless you've got potential to lose some speed there, right?
Yep. Yep.
What
Of course.
else goes into it technically?
Technically, I mean, it's really just the controller. Obviously, a wired controller. You gotta have a good headset. I mean, a lot of us use the Astros. But it's really just depends on your preference.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, also having a good PC is really important now since the switch from PlayStation to PC for competitive. So obviously having a good PC that you optimizes your frames, you can be able to run your game, stream. Some players even have dual PC setups.
Mm-hmm.
So to have that, I think is those three things are the most important. And having a good PC really isn't cheap. I mean, some graphics cards can run $500 to $1,500. So
Yeah.
that's just your GPU. You still need a good processor. You need the motherboard. You need your just entire rig built. So
Yeah. Yeah. That's a fact. And
yeah,
and the good graphics cards, they're hard to come by.
yeah. The like the 3080, 3090, 3070. These new ones that just dropped are
Yeah. The RTX
super hard to
line.
get. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, people are selling out of them as soon as they get them.
Yep.
Brat. So what so you mentioned coaching.
Yeah.
Um so what do you do when how do you coach someone? Can you coach
Well,
me? Can I get a little coach? A little coach action?
Yeah, I
Get some
mean,
tips?
yeah, I could. So like for coaching, for instance, the Code Bowl.
Uh huh.
I mean, I've never been a coach, but I mean, I feel like I could, if I had to be one, I definitely could.
Uh huh.
Just because I think I understand the game really well, things like that. Um, but for my guys on the Army esports team, all these guys, they already play the game competitively. They,
Yeah.
they watch these professional teams,
Yeah.
so they're already familiar with the scene and like how the layout of the land basically. So for me coaching them, it wasn't really super difficult. It wasn't like trying to walk step by step through the whole process, how to play, how to, what guns to use, things like that, because they already had a good idea of.
Yeah.
It was just really giving my insight on what I think could work for them better than what they were doing, and just things like that. What they could do better fundamentally, and just a few like little things like they already have a good understanding of like power positions and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
What I really told them was like how important communication, teamwork, and things like that is. I think they already kind of know that, them being in the military, how important that kind of communication, clear
Yeah.
communication is, which I was awesome to hear from them. So yeah, just the play, obviously playing the game fundamentally, working together as and being team oriented is super important competitively, but just in general, like if I were to coach someone, just just do better in public matches and things like that, it's really just uh, it comes with time. Like it's not something you can't just pick up a controller and instantly improve. You gotta put the time in, and you gotta also analyze what it is you're doing on the map,
Mm-hmm.
the routes you're taking, and how you can improve those. So like, I mean, obviously like watching your own gameplay and back and things
Mm-hmm.
like that would work. But also like when you die or like when you're going on a big kill streak, things like that, understand what you're doing right and the position that you're in and holding. Because for me, I think positioning is super important. Um, and yeah, just taking advantage of like certain situations. So.
And did you review any of their footage to give them that advice or any of those
No, I
tips?
I actually didn't. There wasn't any like footage for me to really go off of. I
Uh
mean,
huh.
I that's actually something that I probably should have brought up, but they were so confident in their own in themselves
Yeah.
that I was really just having fun, just chatting chatting with them and just seeing what they're about and to hear how big of fans they are of like competitive and how they
Right.
literally play every day. They scrim as much as they can and things like that, just like any pro team. Um, just gave me the confidence that they're just gonna come out and win this thing. So,
Nice. And so how does someone go about becoming pro? I mean, like what are some of the first steps that they'd have to go through?
um,
I mean, first obviously be good at the game.
yep. So, first step, obviously, be good at the game, talented. Those are obviously just straight off the top. But
Do you need an
also,
agent? Like,
yeah, agents are in Call of Duty. Yep, they're just like regular sports. Having an agent, things like
right.
that, is super important. But you can also be your own agent too. I mean, being able to present yourself in a certain way, to be able to take those phone calls with organizations
Mm.
and pitch yourself to be able to be a player for them, work for them, even build a roster for them, a winning roster, because at the end of the day, every organization wants to win. So for them to hear your insight on how to win, and how what you would bring to the table is super important. And that goes back on my further point is just building relationships.
Yeah.
So it's just like anything, like any kind of job, office, business, anything like that. Building relationships, building those bridges within the community is very important. You don't want to burn bridges. That was something I touched on like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago on the Rocker podcast when I was asked about amateur players and things they can do better in the challengers division to make their way pro. And a lot of players they really burn bridges with past teammates, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's super important to either try to mend those relationships or maintain them regardless if things don't work out. So yeah, just obviously just being you. You don't want to be like everybody else. You want to stand out in a certain way. That'll help attract people, fans, even organizations. So yeah, those are just a few things I would say.
When you do you ever just hop into games like like we are now,
Huh?
and people like recognize your name?
Yeah, all the time actually. Like so I'm sure you're familiar with people like shooting your body and things like that. So uh, I'll hop in random public matches and that'll happen. Or people, especially last year, like there's no ranked playlist now, but when a ranked playlist comes out, everybody I'm sure will be in game chat again, and that's just a good way for you to be able to hear people that you're playing with or against. And competitive players, casual competitive players, will recognize you, especially if they're like keeping up with the pro scene.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing that is super. I mean, I think it's really cool. Um, and I mean, I've been recognized just a few times, like not too often, but like in public and things like that, which is definitely shocking. But and it's still weird, like to me, like now, but it's definitely grown on me, and I mean I'm blessed to be in the position I'm in, so I can't complain about any of that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm definitely a casual gamer for sure. I don't
Yeah,
think I would recognize any names of any pro players that you throw out there,
yeah.
but I just I have a good time playing. So who are some of
Everybody's
the
a gamer at heart.
I'm a gamer at heart. Yeah.
Yep.
Uh,
Everybody loves some games, man.
yeah, for sure. So who are some of the pro players that you kind of came up on, and were like looking up to, I don't know, however you would phrase it.
Yeah, I go what you're saying. There was like there was very few players that like I don't think I really necessarily like looked up to anybody, but I
Right.
recognized their talent and like
Yeah,
what they brought to the table and like
that's a
the
better way to
things.
put it.
Yeah, the things that they did. Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, I've been asked that question before, and there was really nobody that like that I was like I just super looked up to. But like for
Mm-hmm.
instance, Karma, he's won 3 world championships. He's extremely talented. He's just a winning, just a has a winning mentality. So that was someone I watched, and it was like, yeah, this guy's nasty. I mean, when I was before I even like really played competitive, I would see his gameplays in like Black Ops 2 back in the day, and it was like, damn, this guy, he's like the best player in the game. And yeah, like for him, for instance, Scump. I mean, on the content side of things, he was like leading the charge for Call of Duty, and he still is, just competitively and for a lot of casual fans too. So those are just two names that just kind of inspired me in a way. Like they're just doing their thing. So I mean, you can't not respect that. So outside of that, I mean, there's players that, like I'm obviously familiar with, but um, I've been in the scene now for a while, and a lot of these players know me, and we might not talk and things like that all the time, but I feel like me as a person, I'm pretty much chill with everybody, or
Yeah.
I'm just cool with everybody. Um, but when it comes to like playing the game competitively, and like competing at these tournaments, like I don't care about anybody else but my team.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of my mentality on things.
Are there ever any like serious beefs that come out of like shit talking while you're playing?
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely like shit talking. I mean, that's just like in every sport,
Right.
really.
Right. Right.
Um, any crazy beefs on my end? No, but I mean, I think I've witnessed a few. Not, I wouldn't say they're necessarily crazy. I mean,
Right.
people talk shit, people talk smack. Everybody wants to beat each other at the end of the day, you know.
Right.
So, I mean, yeah, the beef is there, and I think it's good that it's there, just because, um, it just makes it even more enjoyable to watch, especially from a viewing perspective
Mm-hmm.
and even a competing perspective. Because like obviously, if someone's talking smack to you, you're gonna want to beat them, right? So
Right.
I think it adds fuel to the fire.
Yeah. Yeah, I play with mouse and keyboard now.
Yeah.
I originally started uh, on the Xbox, and when I when I got a PC, I was still using a controller.
So
And I was
yeah,
playing
that's what
PUBG.
we use.
Huh?
Controller. That's what we use now. The controller on PC. So
Yeah. But it was funny because I'd be playing PUBG, and uh, in the beginning I'd play with my mic open instead of push to talk because
yeah.
I didn't want to have to take my hand off the controller to talk,
Uh huh.
and so they could hear the clickety clack of the controller, and a lot of times they'd be like, "Are you using a fucking controller? Like what?" the the whole PC master race thing,
Yeah. Exactly.
and and then my controller stopped working for some reason, Windows update something, and I didn't really want to spend the time to fix it, so I just got frustrated and stopped playing, and then I started seeing footage of people playing Squad, and I'm like, I played that a while ago, and I remember just like not getting the hang of it after a couple of games,
Yeah.
because the learning curve's definitely steep, and so then and I couldn't get the controller to work with it either, but I wanted to play it so bad that I just started playing it with mouse and keyboard, and then that's how I got good at mouse and keyboard when pretty much my whole life I was on consoles,
Yeah.
and so now,
So yeah, that switch made is what made you better.
yeah,
It's forcing yourself
right,
to get used to it.
but yeah, I think I might have to switch back to the controller for Call of Duty.
Definitely, it's definitely fun. And especially, I mean, going from console to PC is such a difference in Call of Duty just because you have the FOV
Mm-hmm.
slider and just how smooth the game runs now. So to be able to play that, especially in a competitive setting, is I mean, I've been waiting for this switch to happen for a while,
Mm-hmm.
um, and was hoping we'd actually switch this year. So I'm definitely glad that we did.
So I'm sure you guys have been doing uh, a lot of training now for tomorrow. But how long do you guys normally play with each other, and then how how much time are you spending like in the weeks running up to competition?
So, well, for tomorrow, it's really only me involved.
Yeah.
But outside of that, like like we scrim almost every day as a team, our rocker team.
Mm-hmm.
So, and what that consists of is a scrim at 1 and a scrim at 3:30.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we play usually like 4 to 6 hours of scrims a day, just depending on how um if we rerun maps versus a team or things like that. So 4 to 6 hours every day of just team scrims, and then outside of that, like everybody will play on their own. Like you can play obviously public matches like this. You can
Mm-hmm.
play tournaments. You can play professional eights, which is like basically when all 8 players, or basically it's like a pickup game. For instance,
Yeah.
so players will all put their name on a list, and there'll be 2 captains, and the captains will pick 3 teammates. It'll be um 8 players in a lobby, and they're all professionals. So that'll be played most nights, not every night. And then outside of that, yeah, like you can play tournaments on your own. A lot of players stream to build their brand, things like that.
Mhm.
So, and then obviously leading up to a competition, you're still going to be scrimming every day. Um, Pre-COVID, there'd be like boot camps and things like that,
Yeah.
where teams would fly out to one location and they'd like play against each other in a LAN in a local area network environment,
Mhm.
which is like the best practice you can get, obviously, because in a tournament setting you're gonna be playing on LAN. So
Mhm.
to get that kind of practice before a tournament is really really important. It's because the game just this things just very different, not entirely, but just how teams and like how the game kind of just plays out.
Mhm.
So there's that. Yeah, like usually leading up to tournament is obviously more of a grind, but you're still scrimming every day. Maybe instead of 2 times, probably 3 times, um, like multiple times that week. So
So pre-COVID, where are some of the kind of cooler places that you've traveled, and some of the I don't know, maybe cool events or fun events that you've been to?
yeah. So my personal favorites, just traveling wise, um, top of my list would, I mean, Anaheim, which is one of the events that was held every year during the CWL, which was before the COD League franchising happened this year because it's still 2020. Um, I think if there wasn't COVID, there would have been an Anaheim event. So Anaheim's definitely one of the bigger events, better events, just because it's such a good viewing experience. There's always a lot of people there, a lot of spectators, a lot of hype around that kind of event. So probably Anaheim, Seattle just was a really fun event. It was just an awesome city to see. I enjoyed that event.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of that, it was really like Atlanta, Dallas. I've been to Columbus. Um, I did go to London last year. I thought that was really cool. I mean, that was my first time overseas. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
just to be overseas for Call of Duty I mean, dude, that was really cool. So,
Yeah.
this year I was really hoping, I was really excited about going to Toronto, and that just didn't happen, obviously, because of COVID. So
Yeah.
hopefully, at some point, I'll be able to go to Toronto, which will be cool. Um, yeah, that is just those are just a few. Miami was a good event too, actually. Should have won that event actually, but
Yeah. So what's the pay like for a pro gamer?
I mean, I don't want to get into too much about it, obviously, but I mean, the base salary is 50,000, benefits, full health benefits, dental, eye,
Mm-hmm.
vision, that kind of thing. So every org offers that on just up. I mean, on a minimum scale.
Yeah.
Obviously, players aren't paid the minimum. I mean, it depends on the kind of player you are, your tier of player.
Mm-hmm.
What they bring to an organization, their content background, things like that, their accolades. So just depending on the player you are, things like that. Yeah, I mean everybody's paid very well in the league. There's 48 players out of how many millions of people that play Call of Duty. So just put that into perspective. Yeah, the pay is really well. I mean this is a career for all of us. I mean I've been asked multiple times is you have a like when I tell people I'm a professional gamer, they ask me or do you have a job outside of this? And I always tell them, no, I don't have the time to have a job outside of this.
Yeah.
And I'm blessed to not be able to, like, I don't need another job, things like that. And obviously, normal day-to-day schedule, I will scrim 4 to 6 hours a day, but there's no clock in. I mean, I've said this so many times. This is like one of my favorite, like, ways to say it
Yeah.
is there's really no clock in, clock out time. Like when you have your 9 to 5, your 8 to 4, things like that, you clock in at 8, clock out at 4. Your job, you're done for the day. But when you're competing in esports, when you're trying to be the best player, the best team, you can't just scrim and hop off. You got to keep playing. You got to be on your own grind. A lot of players, like I said, build their own brand. So there's no clock in, clock out. in professional esports, and that's one thing I learned super early. Um, so yeah, if you want to be the best, you want to win, things like that, you got to put in the overtime all the time, especially during season. It's a lot of sacrifice, especially when it comes to like relationships, things like that. Um, Hanging out with friends. There's I can't even tell you like how many times I had to tell my family like years ago before I was even like professional yet. They would want to go out to dinner, and I'd be like, "Yeah, sorry, I'm playing. Like, I'm playing. Like, what are you playing for? What do you mean? What do you mean you're playing? Come on, like, I'm in a tournament. Like, see, they didn't understand. Now they
Yeah.
do. So yeah, that's my best way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could use that excuse. My wife wouldn't have it.
Yeah.
I've
Well,
tried a
it took.
couple times, but babe, I'm playing. Doesn't
Yeah.
work. Doesn't work. Does it ever? I mean, so you've been doing this for 3 years. Does it ever feel like a job? Does it ever feel like I don't know, like I don't know, maybe some porn stars. You talk to some porn stars and they're like not really into having sex anymore because they have to do it so much for fun. I haven't actually talked to one that would say that, but I mean, does it ever feel like it's too much of a grind? Like oh god, I
Uh,
have to play again. Oh,
Not really. I mean, because COD, I mean, it switches every year, right? So
yeah,
there's always a new game, things like that. Scrimming and things like that can get kind of repetitive. But what makes it not a job for me, what brings the fun out for me, is the competing aspect. Like I said, I'm a very competitive person.
yeah.
So, um, just competing at a high level, trying to, that team oriented feel, just trying to be the best team, trying to be the best player, things like that is what I love about it and what keeps my drive. So yeah, like I just look forward to the next tournament after the tournament. You know what I mean? So after tournament ends, I look forward to the next one just because that's what's fun to me. I'm just waiting for the season and all the format and things like that to be officially announced, and that's what will just ignite my grind and my fire even more, and just stay on my grind. So
Tourney to tourney.
yep, exactly.
Nice. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to play a little Call of Duty with me, and ahead of the tournament. I know your schedule's kind of busy now, so
Yeah, no
this was
worries, man.
fun.
I
It was
appreciate you.
fun. Barring the technical issues in the beginning, we worked through it, and thanks.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, man. We'll take care, and good luck to you in the future.
All right, man. Thank
All
you.
right.